Hola, this is the Getting to Ramen podcast, and I'm Joshua Anderton. Hello. It's been a while, so I thought that I'd jump on here and give you an update. Lots of stuff going on with Upscribe. So actually, Vulcan Kaya from Versely.com, he DM'd me today and asked me if I would do another podcast episode because he's been listening. So I really appreciated that. So that was enough to get me on here again. So, and go check out Versely.com, Webflow competitor, really great. Webflow alternative, really, really great product, really easy to use. Go check that out. So you may have noticed if you've been on the internet, and I'm assuming that you have been because we've been in a pandemic, but the new surge in paid newsletters. So there's just like tons of people starting these paid newsletters, especially last year. It was just crazy. So Upscribe has a paid newsletter feature. And actually I had added this feature a few years ago and then removed it because no one used it. And so when it started to get popular again, paid newsletters, I was actually pretty skeptical that it wasn't going to be something that, that would stick. And so I kind of waited to see how things would go, and a few of my users started asking for the feature, and so that was what ultimately caused me to add the feature. And so I've had a few people beta testing it, and now it's available to everyone. So that's a big piece of what I've been working on over the last few weeks, and so I'm excited to see how that goes. And with that, to kind of promote it, I've created this little free pricing comparison tool that I just released at paidnewsletters.upscribe.be. So I'll link that in the show notes so that it's easy to get to. But basically just compares the pricing for a paid newsletter between all the different tools that offer that feature. So the main tools, so Revu, ConvertKit, Substack, Upscribe. I have Ghost on there as well. So they have a newsletter feature and a paid newsletter feature. Yeah, so check that out. Let me know what you think about it. But it was actually kind of it was something that was interesting to me as I was starting to look at or trying to decide on pricing for Upscribe's paid newsletter feature, because typically everyone has been charging an application fee, or it's called an application fee in Stripe, but just like charging a little percentage of transaction for transactions, and that's kind of the way that typically they've been priced. And it's not a huge fee when you got a small paid newsletter, but when you have a larger one, the 10% that Substack is charging, it gets pretty hefty. It gets pretty expensive. And what was even more interesting to me once I kind of dug in and actually was looking at how to properly build out this pricing tool was that nobody was talking about the added Stripe fee that's on top of that. So when you have Substack says they charge 10%, well, there's also the 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction that Stripe charges on top of that. So it actually gets even more expensive than that. And same with Revu, that's added on top. And from what I can tell, ConvertKit actually just includes that 2.9% in their transaction fee, which I feel like is a lot, makes a lot more sense. So anyway, so that was interesting. So it gets really expensive. And so I built out this table that kind of shows how the price compares. And even with ConvertKit, who charges a monthly fee, and same with Upscribe, we charge a monthly fee, and there's that Stripe fee as well. And of course, ConvertKit charges a little bit of a transaction fee on top of that Stripe fee for using their product. So looking at this and comparing the pricing, that ultimately caused me to, I felt that I'm probably not going to get this, I don't love the idea of charging that extra transaction fee, but more importantly, I want my pricing to be as simple as possible. And it's already complicated enough having a tiered pricing plan. I didn't want to add this other element of pricing it just makes it's too much to think about. And so I just decided There is no extra transaction fee for using the paid newsletter within Upscribe. There is the Stripe transaction fee. We don't add anything on top of that. So anyways, you can see that on the table. But one of the other reasons why I built this table or this little pricing tool was actually from spending some time in the newsletter crew forum. So there's a great forum on email marketing and newsletters and paid newsletters, and it's actually a paid newsletter itself and a forum and a few other things. They've got a podcast, and so a great little community. And so I joined that a few months ago, and that's been really interesting, kind of seeing what people are talking about, the struggles that they're having, some of the questions that they have about existing tools that are out there. But this was one of them, was like trying to figure out, they're talking about what would be the most kind of affordable or reasonable way to build a newsletter. Do you build it yourself? Do you go with ConvertKit? Do you go with Revu? And so, and I'm realizing right now for Upscribe, the biggest thing is just not enough people know that we do email marketing, that we do have a newsletter feature and a paid newsletter feature. And so it's time to kind of get my head out of the developer mode and really focus on marketing and really focus on distribution and educating people on the product. So that's what I'm transitioning to right now. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. This is a really short one. But paid newsletters, yeah, that's been a really big piece lately. And actually while I'm talking about that newsletter crew forum, the creator, the owner, Yaroslav Bagri, he purchased that a while back, and he's been running that and doing a really great job with that forum. And I've followed him for a while, and we were just randomly talking a little bit over Christmas break on Twitter and DMs, and I had no idea, but he was actually getting on the IndieHackers podcast. And so he was on there recently and actually brought up Upscribe, and they were talking about Upscribe. So that was a really exciting kind of surprise there. But anyways, go check out that episode. That's a really good one. And one of the things that they talked about was kind of like discussing how, as an indie hacker, how it's possible to even run an email marketing tool and go up against MailChimp and ConvertKit and these tools, that these other applications and software companies with like hundreds of employees. And it was kind of fun hearing them talk about, Cortland Allen talking about, like, from his point of view, or as he's looking at the website and he's looking at thinking it through. It's like, oh yeah, I guess that is possible with the where technology is now, and like the really, like, with the stack that I am able to use, I have a basically infinitely scalable infrastructure using Laravel Vapor. I've built it on top of SendGrid, so all the email sending is taken care of. I can manage custom IP addresses. I can manage like all of the DNS records and validating of domains, like custom sending domains, even like keeping tabs on all of my different, like all my customers' sending reputations. All that stuff is just like taken care of with this API. And SendGrid is owned by Twilio, so it's like they're not going anywhere. So I'm built on top of this great infrastructure. It just takes care of so much that it actually makes it possible for me to still focus on product or customers and marketing and support. And really the only thing that's going to need to scale is, as I add more customers, I need to be able to support those customers. And so that's where most likely I'll need to, hire a team at some point and have people helping me with that side. But on the development side, it's in a really good place because of the tools that are out there. So anyways, I thought that was really fun. It was kind of like a good reminder that's like, in the past, I've had a hard time with the name, being called an indie hacker. I felt like there's some kind of like a negative connotation to it, as if it's just for fun that we're doing this. But it's just, I think it's a badge. I think it's something that's exciting. It's like, we're going out on our own. We're trying to make our own future. And it's a mindset that's exciting. It's fun, and it's made possible by the technology that's available to us now. Anyways, I thought that was fun. So I hope you're having a good week, and I'd love to hear from you. If you want to shoot me a message on Twitter or on, all the places, all the things. Would love to chat. But yeah, have a good one.